and what's interesting is that Richard Pryor even tried to tell his own tale, kind of like with JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling, but even in that film, it's kind of it's more of a nice portrayal of himself.
He watered himself down.
Exactly.
And it's weird. It's weird where Pryor's willing to be honest about himself and where he isn't. You know, where you can tell they're like glossing stuff over. Going back to his early part of the career, since this is a film discussion show.
Oh, Some Kind of Hero. That was another dramatic role he took.
Some Kind of Hero. Well, he did a bunch of like nice dramatic stuff. Was a Bingo Long and a Traveling All-Star?
Yes. That was for him.
But the Negro Leagues. And that's I remember liking that movie a lot. I haven't seen it in a while. It's a very good film.
Billy D. Williams, James
right?
Earl Jones.
And so then we get to Silver Streak, which is his first pairing with Gene Wilder.
His big break, kind of.
And that was probably not only his big break, but that forever. From that point on, he did Richard Pryor roles. You know, and it was like all comedic roles, and they're all variations on his persona as a stage comedian. And as his career became more successful, his bite, his ability to broach adult stuff became less and less and less.
Yes, because I believe Live at Sunset Strip was before he did Silver Streak, the concert movie.
Okay.
And that was when he was at the pinnacle, the top, when he was really, hilarious. And then after, like you said, Silver Streak, maybe it was the success. It's sort of like how they say, like with hip-hop acts, when you're from the streets, you can talk about it because you live it every day. But the more successful you get, the more you're coming away from the streets, so you're not surrounded by that all the time.
We should also clarify something. We were talking about his dramatic roles. Blue Collar was actually completed after Silver Streak.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So some of this stuff happened around the same time. I don't know when they were actually released, but he also did he did Grease Lightning.
Yeah, that was really good.
Which was really good as well.
With Pam Grier.
Yeah.
He was engaged to at the time. In fact, that was one he was only clean, and then he screwed up that whole engagement.
Yes, and there's the famous...
How can you screw up an engagement to Pam Grier?
Well, there was that funny story she tells in her biography where he used to go down on her so much that she, when she went to the gynecologist, she had a lot of cocaine in her vagina when they went to go check.
That's one for our female fans. So Silver Streak, which is a fun comedic, sort of a parody of Hitchcockian kind of thrillers on a train kind of thing.
To me, I hate to say it, my only interest in the film is when he's in it.
Well, the funny thing about it is, originally his part was very brief.
Exactly.
Wilder was supposed to get back on the train, and then the rest of the movie plays out, but Arthur Hiller loved his performance so much, he's like, hey, let's keep him in the whole movie. And he improvised a lot of his lines. The infamous bathroom scene where he puts the shoe polish on Gene Wilder's face to make him act black to get past the police. And even the part where he confronts Patrick McGugan after he calls him the N-word. I mean, that moment made everybody cheer in the theater when that came out.
The Wiz.
The Wiz, yes.
The Wiz.
The Wiz.
Right. I know we kind of talked about it before when we did Sidney Lumet films. I just rewatched The Wiz really recently. Set design is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Absolutely phenomenal. The movie is awful.
Yes.
It really is. It's not good. In fact, I was revisiting it thinking, you know what? I think it's better than I remember it. And I watched it, it's like, no, it's not. It's not good.
I like it.
I've seen a revival of the stage play with Stephanie Mills back in the 90s, and it is a million times better than the movie.
Yeah, and they changed the play. In fact, a lot of songs were rewritten because, like, Joe Schumacher wrote the screenplay, right? The great Joe Schumacher.
The music.
And apparently he's like into Est, and all that stuff. And so they enforced all this Est. Even Diana Ross was into Est. So they forced all these things into the script, into the story to kind of like... And it's just, God damn it, please. The whole like Dawn of a New Day sequence when we get one dance sequence and then we get another one where they rip their skins off. Oh God, please end.
But
and they waste Richard Pryor in it. He's totally wasted.
Yeah, it's stunt casting in that part. A lot of roles he played at that time were stunt casting. The cameos that he did, like California Suite. What was that other one? Holy Moses.
Yeah, California Suite was the same. Holy Moses. Yeah, I was going to get to that. California Suite was a much more solid role.
Well, there was more written for him to do.
Right, and that was like a skit. It was an anthology movie.
Yeah.
Then he had, actually, this is a pretty important film in his career, Richard Pryor Live in Concert, because that was probably the first real live comedy concert film,
movie.
right, to be released theatrically. Has anyone seen In God We Trust?
I've never seen God We Trust.
Okay, skip. Now we get to Stir Crazy. So Stir Crazy marks the return of Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor as a team.
Throughout the whole film this time.
Right, and
Directed by Sidney Poitier.
That's right, directed by Sidney Poitier, who had such an interesting career
of directing.
He gets his Oscar as an actor. He's becomes this like seminal actor, African American history. Gets respected establishment, treated as
he's like, and I know what I want to direct first.
And it's
Stir Crazy with Gene Wilder.
That was
and
his
Richard
first
Pryor.
directing. I thought
I think his first was Uptown Saturday Night. Right?
Oh yeah. So he's like, I want to co-star with Bill Cosby in a comedy.
And it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's silly, and some of the jokes don't work today. I mean, if you watch it, but I remember loving it when I was a kid.
It still works. I mean,
I think it's a much funnier movie than Silver Streak.
Yes, definitely.
I guess on a side note too, like a lot of people for many years thought Pryor and Wilder were very close as friends because they did so many movies together, but that was not the case. Especially,
well, they only did 2 movies together, but they did want Pryor for Blazing Saddles.
Yeah,
that was originally written with him in mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think ironically at that time he didn't really have much control because he had financial issues, so he was accepting a lot of films for the paycheck, and then movies he would turn down ended up going to Eddie Murphy, who was the star on the rise at that time, and he made hits out of 48 Hours and Trading Places.
But also, he had his own Hollywood production company, and really no projects other than Here and Now and JoJo Dancer were the only products that came out of that.
He made bad business decisions, having Jim Brown involved with the company, and they turned down Purple Rain, they turned down Bird, and movies that could have done some good for Pryor as a producer and as an actor. He just sort of shied away because of just bad influence around people he was working with. And so he ended up doing movies like Brewster's Millions.
Now, why is that? Because he just wanted to surround himself with yes men, or was it because of the drugs that kicked in?
I think it was a combination of everything. And plus, he was at such a high point in his career as a personality. He hosted Motown 25. Mm-hmm. He had a kids show. He had a certain image now that he had to maintain.
Well, he was huge. Plus, he was starting to do more family-friendly stuff. There's A Toy, which is a very strange movie.
It's a racist film.
It's a very racist film. Very uncomfortable to watch.
I still like it.
What is so nostalgic about it for you?
Because I grew up, and that was really the first time I recognized a Richard Pryor film growing up, other than Bustin' Loose. So I just thought, since it's more of a physical comedy, I didn't really pay attention to, I guess, more of the political and social means of the films. I just saw it as, oh, look, he's on that big wonder wheel spinning around. Oh, look, the piranhas almost eat him in all his clothes.
What's so political about The Toy? I don't get that.
The whole thing, well, it's not political. The whole thing is that the whole movie, he's supposed to be this investigative reporter, but you look at the premise of the film, you're this reporter, but basically nobody wants to admit that you're a slave, but this little boy bought you. And
right, but I think Bustin' Loose had a little bit more of a arc to it because he's playing more like himself. He's this deadbeat con man who doesn't like kids and doesn't like women.
Exactly.
But in the movie, he likes kids and women.
Yeah, but see, I'm watching the movie as a kid. That's all I'm paying attention to. When I'm watching The Toy, I'm not paying attention to the whole investigation.
It's just something very awkwardly uncomfortable about watching a black man being in that situation.
Exactly, being bought.
And not seeing any irony in it. Or understanding what are the consequences, or what message you're putting out.
And it's likely it could have been, and people are going to be shocked when I say this, it could have been a better film if producer Ray Stark had not taken final cut from Richard Donner, who had a far different vision of what that movie was supposed to be.
And what was the vision?
Yeah,
please tell us.
What's the vision?
Well, it was based on a French film, right? It was a remake of.
I didn't even know that.
I believe so. I think it was.
Yeah, and I think that the script. The script, from what I heard, was a little bit more like the movie Inside Moves. It was a little bit more heartwarming. I think it was a little bit more ironic. And then I guess they wanted more like this stupid high concept movie of Richard Pryor just being this kid's plaything, and Donner had no control over that. Plus, you're dealing with Pryor still recovering from his accident, and Jackie Gleason kind of being a dickhead at the end of his career. No offense, God bless your soul, Jackie Gleason, but
one word: skidoo.